Welcome to Fiscal News, where we dive deep into the forces shaping our financial future. In an age where trillion-dollar corporations wield more power than entire nations, we have to ask, who's really running the world? Today, we explore the rise of a new Leviathan, not a mythical beast, but something far more real: the growing dominance of global companies. Are corporations becoming the new sovereign powers? And what does that mean for democracy, control, and your everyday life? Stay tuned, because this is going to change the way you see the world. English philosopher Thomas Hobbes introduced the concept of the Leviathan. A powerful sovereign, essential to maintaining order. He believed that without a strong authority, humans would fall into chaos, war of all against all. The solution? A massive, centralized state, a Leviathan, to protect us from ourselves. But what happens when that Leviathan gets too big, too slow, and starts devouring itself? Let's take a closer look. In 1651, English philosopher Thomas Hobbes wrote Leviathan, a foundational text in political philosophy. In it, he argued that without a strong, centralized authority, human life would descend into chaos, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. To avoid this fate, Hobbes proposed the necessity of a Leviathan, a sovereign authority so powerful that it could impose order on society and protect individuals from each other. For Hobbes, this Leviathan was the state itself, a government born out of a social contract between people who surrender some freedoms in exchange for security and stability. But what Hobbes perhaps did not foresee was this: what happens when the Leviathan grows too large, too slow, and too self-serving? What if, over time, the very entity designed to bring order begins to consume itself, becoming bloated, inefficient, and unable to respond to the needs of the people it governs? Fast forward to the 21st century. Governments still exist, and in many parts of the world, they still play the role Hobbes envisioned. Yet increasingly, they are being outpaced, not by revolutions or foreign enemies, but by global corporations and decentralized technologies that challenge the very notion of centralized control. Today, we live in a world where Apple's market value exceeds the GDP of entire countries, where Amazon's logistics network rivals those of national postal systems, and where Facebook, Meta, has more influence over global discourse than many public broadcasters combined. The Apple makes more money than Portugal, and Facebook influences elections more than some governments. We have entered an era where companies have become so powerful, they no longer operate within countries, they operate above them. It's time to ask, who really runs the world now? This raises a provocative question: are companies becoming the new Leviathans? Governments, especially large bureaucratic institutions, often suffer from inefficiencies. Policy changes take years. Corruption and red tape choke progress. Political instability can grind entire economies to a halt. Meanwhile, multinational corporations act swiftly. They pivot, they innovate, they expand. In many ways, they function as modern microgovernments. They have their own laws, terms and conditions, their own currencies, reward points, tokens, or even stable coins, and their own infrastructure, cloud servers, logistics fleets, private security. Alongside these systematic bottlenecks, there's a whole different force: decentralized currencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Blockchain tech that isn't run by any government or CEO. These systems say, we don't need a central Leviathan at all. Order can emerge from code, from networks, from consensus. In this world, governments and banks are no longer gatekeepers of value. For the first time in history, value can move across the world without needing a single bank, central bank, or regulatory institution to approve the transaction. This is where the Leviathan concept begins to fragment. If Hobbes believed a central authority was essential to maintaining order, decentralized technologies say the opposite: order can emerge from the crowd. Trust can be built not through government enforcement, but through transparency, consensus, and smart contracts. This shift isn't just theoretical, it's visible in the numbers. Fast forward to today, global corporations have outgrown the borders of the states they were born in. Apple, Amazon, Meta. These companies don't just exist in countries, they operate above them. Amazon's annual revenue outpaces the GDP of over 150 nations. Apple holds more cash than many governments. They hire armies of workers, build infrastructure, shape global policies. In short, they've become the new Leviathans. Not elected, not national, but incredibly powerful. They hire tens of thousands globally, shape international policies, and influence laws. They fund research, education, even space exploration, once the exclusive domain of national governments. Think about Elon Musk's SpaceX managing launches in partnership with NASA, while also coordinating with foreign governments. Think about Facebook proposing its own digital currency, Libra, that would compete with national currencies. These companies don't just operate in the economy, they shape the global system itself. So which is more realistic in today's world, a country having companies, or a company having a country? But there's a dark side. These modern Leviathans aren't elected. They don't answer to citizens, they answer to shareholders. Hobbes feared anarchy without a sovereign. But what if this is the new anarchy? Giant corporations shaping lives and laws, unchecked, unregulated. Yet this power shift comes with big questions. If companies are the new Leviathans, who checks their power? They aren't elected. They aren't bound by borders. And unlike governments, their primary responsibility is to shareholders, not citizens. Hobbes feared anarchy in the absence of a strong central power. But what if we're entering a new kind of chaos, one where unaccountable corporate giants act with impunity, answerable only to quarterly earnings and market dominance? Still, there's a counterpoint. Perhaps companies, not governments, are best equipped to handle the speed and complexity of modern life. They can solve problems quickly, scale globally, and operate efficiently. Governments can learn from this model by becoming more agile, transparent, and innovation-driven. In the end, the Leviathan of today may no longer be a crown-wearing monarch or a towering state agency. It might be a logo, a brand, a tech platform. And maybe the question isn't just who should rule, but rather, what kind of system can survive in a world that's faster, flatter, and more connected than ever? Still, maybe companies are more suited to today's fast, complex world. Governments move slow. Companies pivot fast. Maybe it's time for a hybrid model, agile like tech, accountable like democracy. The Leviathan hasn't vanished, it's just wearing a hoodie now, and running a startup. So, what do you think? Are countries still in charge, or are we already living in the age of corporate sovereignty? So, are we living under a new Leviathan? The lines between corporations and governments are fading, and the future is anything but clear. If this sparked something in you, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us as we uncover what's really shaping our world. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware. This is Fiscal News.